This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Richard, I'd planned on going a different way from you this morning, but I don't think I'd be doing my duty if I didn't start with Dean Weber, who I would guess in some way, shape, or form, as many years as you've worked in recruiting, you've come across him at some point. What have you learned from former players and then maybe your own interactions in football with the late Dean Weber?
You know, the good thing that, obviously since his passing was announced last night, the good thing was, obviously you've been seeing a lot of great things said by former players and coaches, but the thing that really, I guess, kind of got my attention over the years is that so many of the players did that when he was alive, and he knew how much he was respected and loved by the players. Even then, just how he treated them, how much he cared for them, and it wasn't just a job for him. It was a relationship driven with him. He really truly cared for the kids, and they sensed that. And even when he was living, you saw comments very similar to what you saw last night.
Richard, I also heard about his humor. I've only met him once. He's one of those guys, when you're around, you just shut up because he's got so many more things to say and things you can learn from. I remember him saying something. I kind of chuckled underneath my breath. Can you tell us anything about how their players were maybe related to him from that aspect, just from him being a funny, good dude?
I do recall some of that. Just hearing guys just talk about his sense of humor and how he could crack a joke and kind of light up a room just with his humor. But you see guys when they pass get so much love. But again, like I said earlier, just to see when he was alive and all the respect that he got from the players and the coaches, I don't know if I've ever heard anything bad said about Dean, and I think that's pretty strong in itself.
Yeah, I mean, Clay. I was talking with Clay last night. He'd called me when the news was getting out that Dean had passed, and he was telling me a story. And Dean was at a skilled nursing facility, his assisted living, in his final days, and they had to move him to a different room because he had so many visitors. It's one thing to remember someone and after their passing and to share stories, but he had so many visitors in his final days that wanted to see him one last time. People had come by, and Clay was telling me some people would come by twice a day to check on him, and others would come by every day, and it was just 4, 5, 6 at a time. They weren't showing up together. That's how many were there. That speaks volumes to the impact someone had, Richard, when that many people want to make sure they get to get by and see you in your final days.
It tells you that he made an impact on them big time. Usually when you have somebody in your life that has made a major impact on you, you want to do everything that you can to remember them, and also before they pass, you want to show that your respect and your appreciation for them. And I think what you just said speaks volume about just his relationship. And so there's relationships, and then there's just life-changing relationships. And it seems like he had life-changing relationships with so many people. And I think I think if there's a lesson to be learned for all of us, just how you treat people and how you care for people. Dean, I think, is a great example of just a reminder of how much of an impact you can make on people's lives.
Here's the part I have a hard time wrapping my mind around or comprehending is he started with that athletic department basically when I was born, or before then, players like Gerald Skinner, who's passed on and was a friend of mine in the Fort Smith area, was from Malvern, one of the first big linemen. Dean was around when Gerald played, because they talked about, Gerald, even after all them years, would go see Dean and visit with Dean Weber. And then you just start working your way through the different eras and coaches and groups of players that he had impact on. It's been a few years since he was the trainer, but my gosh, you just think about how many players have come through his training room, how many ankles he taped over the years. It's pretty hard for me to wrap my mind around that.
And the thing is also that, sometimes coaches, they kind of like to bring in their own people. And he stayed, good gosh, I don't know how many coaches he worked for, but he stayed on after each coaching change, basically, until he was ready to retire from being a trainer. That also speaks volumes there, because oftentimes new head coaches want their own guy, but he just kept on staying on after each coaching change.
Yeah, I think he transitioned into a new role during the Petrino era, if I remember right, and then was with the foundation for a number of years, which made great sense for the foundation because of all the relationships he had built. Be hard to tell Dean no if he came and asked you for some help with a project. But I think, it's a 40 or so year career just in the training room.
Yeah, I would be interested to know how that is longevity wise, just nationally. I bet there's not too many other trainers that have been a trainer for that long for a particular school.
Also served as a trainer on the 1984 Olympic team as well. So not just respected by his peers here in Arkansas and players and coaches, but I guess nationally as well. As we're reacting to Dean Weber's passing this morning with our friend Richard Davenport on the McLarty Daniel Hotline. Richard's with Whole Hog Sports and the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Richard, shifting gears, one of the beefs I have on this Wednesday is the transparency that doesn't seem to be there with the renovations of Bud Walton Arena, or selective transparency may be the better word. How do you think the U of A could do a better job in the athletics department of getting the information and letting it be known, not just to a select number of fans, but all fans, on what they plan on doing?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think obviously you want to be as transparent as possible. I think transparency in especially when you're a public figure, public institution, politician, what have you, transparency needs to be at the forefront. That just comes down to communication, and if people don't feel comfortable with what's been going on or how it's been communicated, maybe they need to voice their opinion and maybe put a little, maybe their 2 cents in, and if there's enough people that do that, and maybe they go public or whatever, maybe that could make a difference, but. I think transparency is something that I'm not so sure we get enough of in all walks of life, as far as from public officials or institutions.
Hey, amen. And on the subject of transparency, I think a lot of fans want to know, when it comes to NIL deals, what the requirement is from that said player in terms of playing, in terms of interviews and whatnot. How much more difficult is it for fans when they see something or they hear something a player's supposed to make this amount or follow through on what he's supposed to do, and then something comes up or something doesn't happen? Like, how do you grapple with that if you're not just an Arkansas fan base, but fan bases across the country, when these NIL deals are not transparent either, Richard?
I think that's the thing that probably rubs a lot of people wrong. Coaches, fans, just everybody. Just you don't know what's in those contracts, and honestly, you just a lot of what is kind of bad is that there may be a kid that has been very, very responsible about fulfilling his obligations to his particular NIL situation. But then you get a rumor or two going around, and you know how rumors are, especially with social media. That could be very unfair to a young man who's been responsible, and then there's others that that kind of maybe leak out that may be true. So you don't know what's true and what's not unless it's just I guess publicly out there for everybody to know. I think that's the thing, that the next step is probably that to have contracts that are I guess pretty much transparent as far as what their obligations are and all that. But I think that's the only way that's going to happen is maybe if Congress or some rules are passed to where all that's made public.
Yeah. Richard Davenport with us on the McClarty Daniel Hotline tonight. The Razorbacks on Valentine's Day take on Tennessee. I was reading a note here from the university that Tennessee has only played in the Musselman era twice in Fayetteville, while 7 of the last 10 regular season meetings between Arkansas and Tennessee have happened in Knoxville. So I didn't realize it's that lopsided. Richard, I read that note that it's rare to get Tennessee here, and Arkansas's been over there more often than not as of late. Big game tonight for Arkansas to, I don't know if they can climb their way back into the tournament picture, but this would be a great way to maybe avoid playing on that Wednesday in Nashville with a win tonight, and obviously a Quad 1 opportunity. We didn't talk much about Quad 1 opportunities. This is a certified opportunity tonight.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Arkansas hasn't had a big win in quite some time. I mean, they've had some wins, but something of note like beating a team like Tennessee, that would be huge for the psyche of the fans and obviously the players, and yeah, it's just and I didn't realize it until you just mentioned it. How lopsided it has been as far as home and home. That's something that I probably didn't realize. I remember. It just seems like now, since you said it, that all the games have been in Knoxville for the most part, and very few in Fayetteville. So, obviously it's a big opportunity for Arkansas, and good opportunity for the fans.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.